Good morning. It is Monday, April 15th. Puts us 90 days out from Bastille Day. Let them eat cake. July 14th, if you're keeping score at home. There'll be a quiz later that nobody's going to be held accountable for, but that's fine. It's all in my head. It's all in my head. So April 15th, Patriots Day. For most of New England, recognizes Patriots Day. The rest of the country has no idea what's going on. They're like, what are you guys doing? Why are you off today? And we're not all off, but I think a lot of our Massachusetts brethren have shut it down. So if you're trying to get hold of somebody in Massachusetts, I'm sure the agents are working, but maybe the market centers won't pick up. It's fine. We're here, and we are in the midst of it. And so there's a myriad of things going on. Of course, the marathon, which we're gonna talk about that analogy today. It is also the 15th protocol, which if you don't know what that is, that will definitely be on the quiz later, and it would behoove you to understand the mindset of the 15th protocol. 15th protocol basically is you cannot go back on. I love all of this. Good morning. Hi. We're on the quick start. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? Brittany says hello. Can I call you back? Bye. One day. Anyway, Brittany says hi, everybody. Where were we? 15th protocol. It is impossible. What is today? April 15th? And it's not necessarily tax day. They're giving you a little bit of a reprieve, I think, because of the holiday. You have till the 17th to file or put in for your extension. See all the information you're getting? It's phenomenal. All that being said, you can't wait until April 37th to figure out how April went. So on the 15th day of the month, we get into it and we take a look and we find out where we're tracking. If we're tracking behind our goals, and I say this with love, I hope you are, because more often than not, if your goals are advantageous enough, you should always be tracking behind. We should always be tracking to hopefully catch up to our goals, meaning that they should be audacious enough. You hear big, hairy, audacious goals. If they're audacious enough, it's always going to be that you're striving to get them. As soon as you feel that you're tracking, to hit your goals, then you should reset your goals and make them a little bit more advantageous. So said with love, I hope you're behind. And if you don't know whether you're behind or not, that speaks to the fact that we're not tracking well. So 15th protocol, 15th day of every month, we want to see where we are based on our goals for the month, and then we adjust our activities. We don't adjust the goals. We never adjust the goals down. We adjust our activities up, or we just start the activities because sometimes we've just gotten away from them. The great Mark King quote that maybe he stole, but he said it a few months ago, and it's gold. What is it that we used to do that works so well that we just stopped doing it? And maybe for you, it was the DTD2. Do the database too. Do the database too. It is an opportunity to get into your phone, stay out of call bias, and call through your entire phone. So we are into D's and O's. We're calling our D's and our O's. We're texting our L's. Calling our D's and our O's, texting our L's. The schedule for today, we are out of the quick start, and at 10 o'clock in York in person. 10 o'clock in York in person. He's also going to do Meredith. He's also going to do Portsmouth, but 10 o'clock today in York in person. It's a NAR roundtable, little town hall with Nathan. It's 10 to 11:30 in York. That is today in person in York. 11 o'clock, I'll be talking to our future and emerging cappers, and you can head over to kellertv.com for that. Just a conversation with the people who are our future cappers and emerging cappers. What is a future capper? Anywhere between 0 and 5 deals is a future capper. An emerging capper is between 5 and 10 deals. And then after that, you're a capper. Once a capper, always a capper. So we did our proven cappers last week. Future and emerging today at 11 on Keller TV. 1 o'clock on Mondays, as always, Keller TV. You've got Ask the Brokers. And I do believe because of Spring Masterminds going on in San Antonio, we've got it in the calendar, but I think it's not happening. So if you do normally head to Make Money Mondays at 2 o'clock, I do believe that is dormant today. That's that. So you'll notice a lot of stuff that goes on with maps. Anytime there's an event going on nationally, they sort of put all that to sleep. So just so you know, that's not taking place today. I should tell you, though, tomorrow, and this is important because I always forget, and then I wait until Tuesday, and by the time I get on Tuesday at 8:30, it's already started. So I'll tell you, tomorrow is York County. The Homes Tour with Melissa Lesniak is tomorrow is York County. So you're meeting at the Dunkin' Donuts. That is on Route 1 in Kittery, and they're hitting Kittery and York and Elliott I believe, tomorrow. That's 8:15. Be at the Dunkin' Donuts, and they usually head out right around then. And that's a great opportunity to see the market, meet other brokers. If you're just getting started and your limiting belief is, well, I don't have a home on the tour, why would I go? Or I wasn't invited, this is your invitation. And to meet other brokers and to get to know the properties is a huge benefit for you and your future clients. So you can speak to those properties when they think that they want to see them. Not that they shouldn't see them, but sometimes if you have somebody who can't necessarily execute on this house or that house, you've got some internal knowledge about what's going on. And it helps you also develop the fast twitch muscle of BPO, which is broker price opinion. So if you've never been on a homes tour, a box you can check tomorrow, Dunkin' Donuts, 8:15 in Kittery on Route 1. That's where the tour leaves from. So one of the big things that happens on Patriots Day, which is today, is the Boston Marathon. And I titled today's Quick Start, "This is a marathon, not a sprint." This goes back to Simon Sinek. The infinite game, the long play. The things that we're doing are for future business. It is very rare you're going to get on the phone today with anybody and they're like, "Oh my God, thank God you called. We were talking about it over bagels this morning. We're going to list tonight." Like that is a unicorn moment that I would argue has become more and more difficult. The numbers we're hearing nationally, we used to talk about, and this used to hold pretty true. It was 19 no's to a yes. And what we're finding is people's numbers are starting to creep up because of the apprehension of the buyer or the misconceptions of the buyer and the seller. It's a pack mentality, right? The humans want to do what other humans are doing. And what the humans feel that people aren't listing their homes or people aren't buying their homes or the interest rates are way out of whack, and they're not, and you know that. The challenge is the curse of knowledge, right? We feel that everyone knows what we know, and they don't. You are the real estate professional. The curse of knowledge is presuming that your buyers and your sellers and investors and the civilians that you'll engage with day in and day out know that the 30-year mortgage average is right around where we live right now. 2% was an anomaly, right? As I've always joked. 2% died in the fire with Khaleesi, right? And only Khaleesi walked out with the dragon's eggs and no clothes on, if you remember that episode. Most of us do. That being said, it's our job to make sure that we stay in communication, that we keep reminding people that we're alive and we're here to help, and we help eliminate those circumstances in their head. So as your 15th protocol hits today, and if you've got a loved one that may be running the Boston Marathon today, the way to think about that is all the work that they did for the 18 weeks leading up to this moment. This is the celebration. Your closing table is the celebration. We have to celebrate the 18 weeks, or what the national average is tipping to between 40 and 50 conversations to a listing appointment. And these are the people on the James Shaw call that are sharing this math. Now, you might find, if you're tracking, I'll say that again, you might find, should you be tracking, I should on you, and it's only Monday morning, you're welcome. You might find, if you're consistently tracking, that your numbers are better. And if they are, that is a blessing, so run with it. Because we're hearing on national calls people talking about how their 19 no's to a yes went into the 20s, then went into the 30s. And a consistent participant and a consistent player on the pivot shift calls with James Shaw starts at 7:30 on Zoom, hits Facebook at 8 o'clock. It's right in the morning news. If you haven't joined us, join us. That they're in the 30s and 40s on phone calls. 30s and 40s on phone calls just to get to a conference table or a kitchen table. So that's wildly important. Oh, all the deliveries. I love that. Appreciate that. So we have to, and I'll say this for you, we have to get over ourselves and start communicating at a higher level. Which, if you're underwhelmed, right, I'll quote the great Alexis Musmora when she said to me a few years ago, "Tim, I'm overwhelmed by the underwhelm." Now I don't know, thank you. I'm fighting with Alexa now. Alexa, stop. You can't. There's too much stuff on my desk. I know. I'll tell the judge later. Alexis Musmora a few years ago said to me, "Tim, I'm overwhelmed by the underwhelm." And I promised her I would quote her every time I use that because it's hysterical and brilliant and sad and exciting all at once. Ryan Holiday, great author, modern day Stoic. One of his great books is The Obstacle is the Way. We are the obstacle. We are inherently holding ourselves back, whether it's a limiting belief or a lack of action or both, right? Point far. PTFAR. Grab a sharp crayon, write this down if you've never heard me say this before. And this is not mine. This is from Bold. And it's not Bold's. It's from somebody brilliant. Programming, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Our programming tells us that, well, I've made some calls in the past and it didn't work. We've got neural pathways built in to our thought processes that are keeping us from taking the next right action. That's our programming. And for other people in our life who haven't yet stepped into real estate as an agent, as a consumer, as a buyer, a seller, or investor, their thought process is, it's not the right time. We feel like it might not be the right time to call somebody. I got into it with an agent the other day. She had decided she was only going to put certain people into her command, certain people into her CRM, because she had decided that they weren't ready to buy, sell, invest, or may know somebody. And I lost my marbles, and I adore her. And after we both stopped crying, I think she knows that. I was like, what are you doing? If we knew exactly who was going to buy, sell, invest, or join real estate, none of us would be here. We'd be done already. We would have sold our thumb drives already. You'd be disgustingly rich already if you could predict the future. And that's our challenge. We have to continue to show up as a human in the gap in between opportunities. So when the opportunity strikes, when they do decide to become transactional, they come back to the person who was emotional. How do you show up as a human in the gap? So we have to change our thinking. Our programming is locked, and we can create new neural pathways. So change our thinking around our next great action and help them change their thinking. We're not here to tell people how to think. We're here to teach them how to think. My job as your coach is to help you think differently so you can get what you want when you want it. Now your thinking changes, and now you feel differently. And as you feel differently about the opportunity, your actions change. And as we start to change our actions, we garner different, new, and better results. Point far. It is not going to happen overnight. For our loved ones who are running Boston today for the 90th time, for the 50th time, for the 20th time, for the first time, they might have been born with the athleticism and the framework and the proclivity to be a long-distance runner, and they all had to start somewhere. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to be great. This is not a sprint. It is a marathon. I'm going to share with you this week, there's the great story of the rooster and the hen. And it's a phenomenal story about consistency and persistence and tenacity. We'll get to that later this week. I'm going to remind you this week, don't forget we have the All Partners meeting here in Portsmouth on Wednesday. That is preceded by Massachusetts, Maine, and New Hampshire contracts here in the training room. All Partners meeting 12 to 1:30. Join us for that. Sustenance brought to you by our dear friends at Movement Mortgage, the great Bradley James Kelly. If you haven't worked with Brad, you're politely doing it wrong. You should give him and his team an at-bat. His number is 603-396-3198. 603-396-3198 for Brad Kelly. And then on Thursday, special event. She's going to be joining us in the Lakes region in September, and we'll have more details as we get closer to September. The great Antoinette Perez from MAPS Coaching, a phenomenal teacher in the KW ecosystem, is joining us on Thursday on Zoom All the inflammation, yes, is going to be in the morning news that day. It's also on KWCLMHub.com. She's going to do Fierce Conversations Light from 1:30 to 2:30, just a taste. So you can get to know her, sink your teeth into the great book from Susan Collins called Fierce Conversations. She's going to do Fierce Conversations Light, 60 minutes with the great Antoinette Perez. That opportunity is on Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30. We'd love to see you on the Zooms for that. Above and beyond that, if I can help with anything, if I can help start to change the way you think around your former programming so we can garner different feelings, actions, and results, I'd love to do that for you. It is 603-834-2856, or you can book my face at meetwithcoach.com. We'll see you in and around the Market Center and the internet. Have a great day.